Don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our 2 newly released books, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? These books feature over 100 stories from current and former coaches, players, executives, and entertainers from across the football landscape, describing what got them involved in the game, what they love about it, and what life lessons the game taught them. You can find your copy or order your copy from our website at footballgameplan.com/books. Starting with the Jets in this ball game, I would play the run on the way to the quarterback. What that means is that they can get extra aggressive in their gap responsibilities in their rush lanes because the Raiders haven't shown the ability to run the football with some level of consistency, so they can get extra aggressive in trying to get back there and put Carr on the ground. Offensively speaking, it's about working the tight ends in the passing game. I think there are some opportunities for the Jets to have some success over the middle of the field with their tight ends if they get these guys involved in the passing game, and they have to win the special teams battle. They're going to have to generate a big play in the return game, whether that's a kickoff return or a punt return. Helping that offense out by giving them a half a field to work with could only help the Jets' chances in knocking off the Raiders. And for the Raiders in this ball game, I would stay aggressive on the corners. I think their personnel matches up well versus the Jets' receiving corps, so they can get extra aggressive in pressing on the outside, which then allows the timing to be thrown off of the Jets' passing game, which then allows your pressure within the front seven to get back there to Ryan Fitzpatrick. And offensive line communication is going to be huge for the Oakland Raiders. They're facing probably one of the best defensive front sevens from a pressure package standpoint in the New York Jets. And if they're not communicating, they're going to have a lot of bust up front. They're not going to be able to recognize the stunts and blitzes that they will throw their way. So that offensive line has to make sure they understand what they're seeing both pre and post snap. And they have to stay active versus Ryan Fitzpatrick. You have to close the door on him because he's an athletic guy, he's a mobile guy, and he can extend the plays with his legs. And if they allow him to get outside the pocket, that can do a lot of damage to this Raiders back seven. This week versus the New York Jets, I think the Raiders can get creative inside the blue zone, which is from the 30-yard line going in. We know the red zone is from the 20 going in. The green zone is from the 10-yard line going in. So in the blue zone, I think they can get creative with their personnel because they do have tremendous personnel at their disposal with 2 tight ends. I think by going with a stacked eye look, utilizing those 2 tight ends and their outstanding fullback Marcel Reese, I think they can catch the Jets in a bad situation. Show you what we're talking about here. When you see 3 backs in the backfield and a tight end on the line of scrimmage, receiver tight to the line of scrimmage, your instincts as a defense is, okay, they're going to run the football. So this is why I think this play may be on a 2nd and short, where you want to take a deep shot down the field. You can do this because, again, Rivera is an excellent receiver, Walford is an excellent receiver, and we know Reese is an excellent receiver as well. And you already know about the rookie Cooper. So what we're going to do, we're going to show a fake counter action to try to influence these guys to step up and try to hit a big play either to Cooper or Marcel Reese going down the sideline. And because of the fact that it's a run formation look, these guys have to honor any play fake that's happening. Plus, we're moving offensive linemen, showing the fake counter action like I mentioned before. So what we're going to do with tight end Clive Walford, we're going to bring him around the formation, and he's going to be a safety valve. We're going to bring him around, and what we're doing with Rivera, he's going to lead on the counter. He's going to block. And so we're running the counter action here. Open out. Running back takes this counter step. We're going to fake that handoff here and bring Carr around on the boot. So keep that in mind now. What we're doing, we're going to block head up right there. Center's going to block back on that nose. We're going to have these 2 guys work next man over. So tackle's going to get the outside backer. Guard is going to get the 5 tech right here. We're going to bring this guard around and pick up any outside rusher, whether it be the safety or the backer. So we have protection going backside because we're rolling Carr out naked bootleg action, because we have this guy one-on-one with the 5 tech. So what we're also doing in the passing game, we're bringing Cooper up to the post. And you know him on the post is going to draw this free safety away. So now you've taken away what you wanted on this side right here. So how are you going to work Marcel Reese in the game? As you're faking this counter action, everyone is going this way, respecting the run. You slip Marcel Reese out and run him on the rail route. Now, if you're David Carr, and what you want to do is work touchdown to check down. So you want to work touchdown to check down. and this is your fourth option. He's an athlete. He can take off and run. So this is one play the Raiders can run versus the Jets, utilizing their personnel. Again, it looks like a run formation, but you have 1, 2, 3 guys that can beat one-on-one coverage with backers and safety. So I like Marcel Reese versus a Jets linebacker. I like Walford versus a Jets backer. I like Rivera versus a Jets backer. But you're keeping him in the block because he's a very good blocking tight end as well. So I think this is one way they can get creative with their personnel and try to catch the Jets in a bad situation inside the 30-yard line and perhaps generate a big This week versus the Oakland Raiders, I do think the Jets can be in a good situation in the pass defense department if they're playing quarters against the Raiders spread formations. I'm going to show you what we're talking about here. If the Raiders decide to go spread, now I'm going to show you what they like to do out of their spread sets. They want to bring this guy up into the post. Boom, try to take away that safety. They want to bring this guy in and work him back on a comeback, giving Carr a safety valve. They want to leak this back out on an arrow route or a dart route, if you want to call it. You're going to have this guy run up, deep comeback, and you can have this guy run out in the flat. And if the coverage dictates, if it's man coverage or if they detect quarters, they want to bring him down on a rail and try to get this cornerback in the bind. So now that you see what they're trying to do from a concept perspective, how you can play quarters, because again, these are quarters beaters. They want to pull these safeties in and turn these corners into one-on-one situations, because quarters is a zone defense that essentially turns into a man in certain situations. So show you how the Jets can be in better position to defend this. If you're the corner playing inside technique, your job is simple. All you're doing is riding this guy to the breaking point. So you're playing him inside. You playing him inside forces Carr to be accurate down the sideline. He can't make this post throw because the cornerback has inside position. If he's going to throw this ball, it's going to have to be outside. Now this guy has leverage to the sideline, and you essentially take away the post. So playing inside versus the outside receiver to the strong side is a great thing in this quarters defense. Again, so you're taking away one option. Now if you're the backer on the line of scrimmage with the tight end, you're expanding, trying to take away any short route that's coming this way. Once you see this guy break, your job is to break now on this other breaking comeback route by the tight end. So once you see the running back break, you're passing him off to the Mike backer who was getting his drops, see the running back break, and now he's taking that running back head on. So you've essentially taken away these two routes by these guys. Now to protect yourself over top, the safety now has the ability to drive on that. So you're basically combo covering this tight end. You've taken that away. You've taken this away by the backer. Now you're working weak side, and what they're going to try to do is get this guy down the rail on a one-on-one situation, but your cornerback is playing off to the outside. So he's playing in outside technique, so he's funneling this inside, so he has a luxury to now wait and get over top. Safety can now squeeze on this as well, and the nickel back, because this guy knows he has safety help, he can be even more aggressive by bailing before the snap, thus creating the lane for this guy to run and drive if this guy wants to turn it up. So if they run a flat here, he's driving on that right away. If he turns it up on a rail route or out and up, he now has space to get underneath, so they won't get caught in the wash. So it's all about communication if you're the New York Jets. And if you're playing quarters and they try to run some type of quarters beater, it's about communicating in the secondary. And we know they can play press, we know they can play man. Can they communicate? I think that's going to be huge in this game. If they can do so, something like this, they can come away victorious and come away with a big play, maybe a stop on third down, or better yet, a turnover versus the Oakland Raiders. Opening up the Jets playbook, I don't think their passing game is on the same page, and in my opinion, that cost them a victory last week versus New England. You can see right here as Ryan Fitzpatrick comes to the line of scrimmage, the first thing you want to identify is the deepest safety, because 9 times out of 10, that tells you where you have the leverage. And as you can see, the safety is on the near side of the field, which tells you that you have the leverage up at the top of the screen with Eric Decker. The inside technique by the cornerback then tells you that you can't throw the slant or any in-breaking route, and the amount of field that Decker has to work with on this play also tells you that this should be a fade all day long, and the ball should be thrown toward the back pylon. Ryan Fitzpatrick recognizes everything here but the route and the throw. He throws it to the back shoulder, and it's an incomplete pass. And on the next play, he again makes the right read and a perfect throw to Brandon Marshall, but Marshall just flat out drops it. These two plays are the difference between a win and a loss, and the Jets can't afford this level of inconsistency in their passing game to continue this week versus Oakland. Going through the Raiders playbook, you see two separate instances of Derek Carr dealing with pressure. And I went back to the Broncos game because from a pure pressure standpoint, this is exactly what he'll see from the New York Jets. Now here on the first play, you see Carr stand tall in the pocket and take a shot as he delivers a football down the field to Michael Crabtree. This was a big boy play because of the situation. Down by 3 in the middle of the fourth quarter in a tight game. You're backed up on your own end. This is exactly what you want to see from your young quarterback. Now, a couple of plays later is the exact opposite. You can tell the pressure from a few plays ago affected Carr's footwork and mechanics as he throws off his back foot without a lot of velocity, and Chris Harris brings his back the other way for 6, essentially ending the game. So you want to see him from a handling pressure standpoint because he's going to see a lot of it in this ball game versus Todd Bowles' Jets defense. Be a little bit more consistent from the footwork and mechanics standpoint because we know if your lower half is all out of whack, the upper half will suffer, and that's exactly what happened on that play versus the Broncos. I still like the Raiders in this ball game. I think, quite honestly, their defense and special teams will be the edge on why they knock off the Jets. But when you look at the Raiders' offense, I think they can do a great job in spreading the field. They have 2 good tight ends that can cause problems for that Jets defense. And quite honestly, no one wants to talk about it, but the Jets have to make a quarterback change. Their passing game will be the detriment of this football team as a whole. This is a good football team, but I think their passing game will keep that offense stagnant. So I would go with Geno Smith. He gives them a little bit more dynamic play from that position because right now their passing game is simplistic, it's basic, and it's a short passing game because they can't attack deep down the field vertically with any level of consistency or accuracy. So I think that's another way the Raiders defense will shrink the field and force Ryan Fitzpatrick to beat them throwing the football, which I don't think he'll do. So I think Oakland will knock off the Jets in a very close ball game because both defenses, I think, will come ready to play.
Here we go, Jets at Raiders. My X factor for the Jets is going to be quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. I think the Jets are going to see a lot of 8-in-the-box looks. The Raiders are going to sell out to stop the run. That's the strength of the Jets offense. So when Fitzpatrick sees these run stopping looks, he's going to have to take advantage of it. They're going to dare the Jets to beat them through the air, and Fitzpatrick as the quarterback has to make the plays that are going to score points for this team. Looking at the Raiders, like I said, they're going to sell out to stop the run. My X factor is going to be Khalil Mack. He is their top guy when it comes to stopping the run. The guy plays all over, right and left side. He's definitely one of the best run defenders in the league. So he's my X factor for the Raiders. As far as the score prediction is concerned, I think this is going to be a close one, but I have the Jets going to Oakland winning 20-17.
In a battle of 2 teams that used to be quote-unquote laughing stocks, you have the New York Jets and the Oakland Raiders. Both teams are playing extremely well right now, and their losses have come to teams that are just a little bit better than them. Now, as far as a start for the Jets, I'm going to start Chris Ivory. They're going to do ball control stuff. That's what Todd Bowles wants to do. He wants to make sure that this game is shortened and he gives his defense a chance to really do some things. Now, as far as a sit, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. Again, hasn't played poorly, but I just think in this game they're going to try to use ball control. Even when they get near the end zone, it's going to end up being the Chris Ivory show. As far as the start for the Oakland Raiders is Derek Carr. This guy is playing like a legitimate quarterback and putting up quality fantasy numbers while doing so. As far as a sit, it's Latavius Murray. Playing against this front, that bare front where they hug with 3 defensive linemen over the guards and the center, I don't think he'll find many lanes on the interior, and he'll virtually be shut down. My sleeper here is Michael Crabtree. Darrelle Revis will probably man up on Amari Cooper all day, who might have a decent day, but I think Michael Crabtree can outdo any corner that's not named Darrelle Revis on this team. Final score, I actually have the Raiders pulling this one off with a home victory, 27-24.